That was a fun one to film, fun one to write as well. Give me a second to pull up the script for it, and we'll go through the early draft. Title. This is the first draft before I even had a title for it. Long rest. Interior. Dungeon. Night. In a dungeon, party kill the final enemy just in the nick of time. They're all visibly messed up, panting, hunched over, bleeding, ripped shirts, missing armor, some of them prone, unconscious, etc. Cleric crawls over to Wizard's unconscious body and casts a healing spell on them. Wizard wakes up and splutters blood out. Cleric crawls over to Fighter, who's nursing a wounded and limp arm, tries to cure them, but the light sputters and fails. Sorry dude, I'm out, I got nothing. Cleric rolls over and lays on the ground. Spread eagle. Wizard. Ranger, start setting up camp. We need to have a long rest. We shouldn't rest here. There could be more of them about. Well, I'm not going a step further without my spells, so we don't have much choice. Ranger reluctantly sees sense and starts heavily to their feet, dragging their bow behind them to go get the camp started. Barbarian watchers confused. Wait, are we not going back? What? No, we're only halfway into this dungeon. But we're all almost dead. Yeah, we're not continuing. Don't worry, we're just going to rest now. What do you mean rest? I mean, like, not do strenuous activities for a long period. I know what rest means. I meant, why do you think that's all we need right now? Why would it not be? Maybe because that's not how bodies work. What are you on about? I'm saying that I have deep lacerations in my torso and I need a medical professional and a lot of time to recover and heal. Yeah, Ranger's setting up camp for us now. Chill out. Oh, I'm sorry. Does Ranger have a magical item in the bag that grows into a hospital? No. Then what are you talking about? Why would we get ready to sleep now instead of going back to town fighting a healer? Because we'll all be fine in the morning, dude. Don't worry. Oh, okay. So these, points to his wounds, long rest. Grabs Artificer and holds up their clearly broken ankle. And this? Long rest. Barbarian drops Artificer, who whimpers in pain. And this? Barbarian gestures to Bard, who is rolling in pain, groaning and moaning with sickly green skin and has a necrotic black bite wound on his throat. Long rest. Oh, you think Bard just needs a little nappy nap? Okay, fine. Well, sweet dreams to you all. I hope they're not our last. Lies down on a bedroll, closes their eyes. Bard wakes Barbarian. Come on, sleepyhead. We've got a big dungeon to explore. Barbarian sits up and looks around as Artificer is running around playing magical tag with Wizard. Barbarian looks down at their flawless chest with no wounds. God's damn magic. So as you can see, this episode pretty much unchanged from first draft to final draft. This is one of the ones that I had pretty much fully formed in my mind right from the beginning. I knew exactly how I wanted it to go. I knew how the joke should play out. It's the audition piece that I used for Barbarian. That made me just fall in love with Emmett's acting ability. He just came in and absolutely knocked it out of the park. He got all of the subtleties and things of it. Played the humour with perfect comic timing and all the rest of it. So yeah, it's the piece that I had ready right from the beginning. Didn't change much. How many drafts did it even get through? Let's have a look. How many drafts did I even get with this one? D&D Logic, script, season 1, first draft, second draft, third draft, teamwork, what's it called? Long rest, fourth draft, fifth draft. I got 5 drafts through. So even though it's all pretty much there were things like Artificer changing and some of the wizard lines going to Fighter. And we cut out the stuff a little bit at the top with Ranger, like pushing back about setting up a camp. So I just did little tweaks here and there that eventually took it to about 5th draft. But first draft and 5th draft are pretty much identical except for the little things. So that was a straightforward one to write. Rob, this is when you plug your lingering wounds thing from Patreon. That's not now mythical. It's later when I talk about when we get to the end of the analysis of the piece, and then I can say, well, if you think that this is unrealistic and you want to play a game with more realistic lingering wounds, I actually have a lingering wounds thing over on my Patreon that are homebrewed rules for how lingering injuries work. And you should go over there and support me on Patreon in order to get access to things that I've created, like homebrewed spells and items and stuff. That's when I'll plug it. Not now. I wouldn't dream of plugging it now. Classes and the scene, basically the only things that changed. Yeah, it went from being in a dungeon to being in a forest because of logistics. We've got 3 other things that we were filming this day, and we were like, let's stick long rest in there. It makes sense. It will work fine to be in a forest. Written by author's name. Even my own scripts don't have my name on it. Look, even my own scripts can't name me. The draft just needed some long rest in order to have my name on it. Yeah. All right, let's head back over to the other one. What the hell is wrong with you, Streamlabs? Thank you. I have to go off of it in order to go back onto it for it to even show up on the list of screens to share. Why is it a different resolution to the screen? It's a little bit of parchment showing. Weird. So thank you to Myth for reminding you for later. Okay, thank you, Myth, for reminding me to plug my Patreon later on. Rob's extremely modest. He won't even use his real name on scripts. Or I wrote the first draft without writing a title for or the author name for it, and added those in like second or third draft or something. All right, let's go through it, eh? So we chose early on, me and Tom, the cinematographer. We had a discussion about my view for the whole thing to get on the same page, and we decided that we were going to start each episode on like a close-up of some sort of action happening. Bisiek, thank you very much.
It's been a while. What did I miss?
You've just turned up in time. We're just about to start the walkthrough of the behind-the-scenes stuff of the latest episode. So we pretty much every episode, with maybe some exceptions, I can't remember. We're starting like as a close-up on some stuff. Like in the turn-based combat one, we started as a close-up on Phoenix's feet, and in the rules lawyer one, we start as a close-up as wizards getting stabbed. And in this one, we start with a close-up of Barbarians swinging an axe and killing that final bad guy off screen. And obviously the bad guy's like just over here somewhere, and the rest of us have kind of like run away from the fight.
Cure wounds.
Now this one obviously had to be filmed out of sequence. We had to we took the while we were filming something else. I think we were filming next week's episode, week after that. Can't remember when it comes out. There's another episode yet to be shown that we were filming over in another clearing with a goblin camp. And while we were filming that, the art department were over here setting up the camp for the final scene, the final shots here. Everything from this point on was filmed first.
Come on, sleepyhead. There's a big dungeon to explore.
So they had all of the tents, and if you pause and look at it, they've all got their own like little unique flavour to them. So we've got the ranger's tent over here with his bow and his sword and his quiver on it, and inside, even though we never actually filmed it from that angle, they went to the trouble of actually like setting it up inside. So this is Ranger's tent. We've got Bard with her mandolin outside of her tent, and Bard's tent is not got a bed in it. It's just got like a few cushions because she's an elf and doesn't need to sleep. So there's like little details like that. This one at the back I think was my tent, which is why I'm in the background getting my armor put on. I also made the very clever decision that by this point I hated that armor. This was the third day of filming, I think. Was it the third day? I think this was the third day of filming, so I'd already got like welts and bruises and stuff from wearing this armor all day, every day. And so the morning, I wasn't in the skits of the morning, which is great, so I didn't have to wear the armor for the morning. And then the first skit back after lunch was this one, and so I didn't need to put the armor on either. I was just like, no, I'll just stand there with half of my armor on, and Cleric can be helping me get into it like a squire. It's another way of me getting out of having to wear the armor. Over in the background, I'll just get Byron out of the way. This tiniest little one has Ranger's Rogue's bow on it. This is Rogue's tent. It does have a bed in it, but it's a tiny little bed because she's a halfling. Over in the back, I'm not sure if you can see her in this scene. Is she just? Yeah, you can see her getting up. Druid. We decided Druid the art department decided that Druid just doesn't have a tent because she's a Druid and lives out in the wilderness. Just literally collapses in a bush like a drunk person on a walk home. So she just sleeps in a bush. This one's Wizards over here. You can see his staff by it, but I don't think there was anything else to like specify. And then obviously Barbarians is almost as sparse as Druids because he's a barbarian that lives out in the wilderness. And then just off of camera here, I think is cleric's tent. So it was cool that they just set this up, and I was like, it was one of the moments where I was like, holy shit, I have god powers. I can just be like, hey, we need a campsite for a bunch of adventurers, please. And then I turn and do something else, and then the next minute I walk over the crest of a hill, and oh, look at this, I've got a medieval campsite set up for me. I've got powers. The god powers again, yeah. When was it filmed? 2 months ago? 3 months ago? When was it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 weeks ago. So 2 months ago. 9 weeks. It was the end of July. This particular episode was filmed on the 23rd of July. So this was all set up first with all of the little campsite. Oops, we forgot his. How did that get missed? We forgot some paint behind his ears there. Oopsie. How did that get missed in all of the edits as well? We should have mentioned that. Oh well, he's got some sort of skin disorder. That's all. He's got got a Goliath version of a port wine stain.
God damn it.
So obviously we had to film all of this bit first.
There's a big dungeon to explore.
And then once we were perfectly happy that we'd got everything we needed, we then obviously got bloodied up, took away all of the campsite and filmed the top of the scene. All future episodes have to have a seer like that. Yeah, it's a birthmark. Rubbed it off with the fur on his neck, yeah, probably. Where did you guys manage to find such a talented crew behind the cameras? Years of them being in the industry. Years of Adam and all that having contacts, having the right contacts and working with people and getting a good working relationship with people.
Cure wounds.
I love these curing effects. Fucking gross though, that hacking off a huge chunk of his prosthetic nose and then like gluing it back on with sticky fake blood is such a fucking it's just like playing with it. That's fucking nasty. That is so nasty. Long rest also fixed their clothes. Yeah. And obviously this is the start of the joke where we've already seen him die twice. We've seen his first 2 characters die on camera, and then from this point on, it's like the rule of threes. You see him die once, you see him die twice. The third time you see him change character, you don't even need to see it because it's indicating what's happening. And that's another one of these jokes that I've put in there as like a running through line that doesn't affect the individual. Like if this was the first episode people saw, they wouldn't think twice about the "There we are, Wargrim" comment. But if you are watching it through episodically as a series, then you still get that extra joke.
There we are, Wargrim.
Wargrim. I can, like, because of the way that this is edited, we couldn't really change it from how we've shot it. But my filthy mind can't help but see me on my knees, and then Adam standing in front of me, groaning. I'm like, that to my filthy mind looks. I can't help but see something pornographic here.
Sorry, Aaron, I'm out. Ah, damn it. Alright. Theron, start setting.
I think they've misspelled that in the things there. Hostel, thank you very much. Theron is with an E-N, not an I-N. I'm pretty sure. You just had to point that out. Of course I did. Because somebody else has... If I've seen it, somebody else has seen it. There you go. See? Myths thought it as well. Rob sounds like me when I get up in the morning. Yes, I can use the smell that.
A new adventure.
Echo Songs, thank you for the Prime subscription
7
with
months.
7 months.
We have it the magic number smiley face.
Magic number. Did you show pain from the hammer in this bit? No acting needed, yeah.
Setting up,
Yeah.
we're going to need to camp. Wait. We're not going back.
What? No, we're only halfway through the mission.
But we're all almost dead.
Yeah, we're not continuing.
So what I thought was really fun. I really enjoyed right from the very beginning. I knew that Barbarian was going to be my straight man of the comedy scene. He was going to be the person who acknowledges the ridiculous nature of the logic, which, because the world genuinely works that way, makes him kind of dumb. Like, he doesn't understand the basic laws of physics, like resting heals you. Like, that's an obvious basic thing that he should know by now, and because he doesn't, he's dumb in this world. But he's dumb in this world, but would be considered smart in our world. And so I loved that deliberate juxtaposition there. And so Aaron and Cleric, I liked this scene for being like a 2 versus 1 kind of a scene. And because it shows the difference in approach between Cleric and Aaron as well. You start to see some of their characterization. Like, Aaron is a bit more like, get to the point, like, let's move things on. He's kind of the de facto leader of the group. He's making decisions, start setting up camp, giving orders to people, and people are following those orders. Whereas Cleric is much more patient and gentle and kind, and like, Aaron sees Goliath being stupid and it doesn't have the time of day for him. He's like, no, of course, what do you mean? Tries to explain rest to him, like, how do you not know what the word rest means, dumbass? And Damocles is like, oh, I see what the problem is. No, it's this and this and this. So like, it gave us an opportunity to sort of show off our characters a bit.
We're going to rest now.
What do you mean rest?
What do you mean rest?
I mean, like, not do strenuous activity for...
I know what rest means. I mean, do you really think that's all we need right now?
That's a very subtle difference between like somebody who knows how to embody the actual conversation that the characters are having versus somebody who just reads the script. Because in the script, I say, not do strenuous activity for a prolonged period of time, and the point is for him to cut me off. And one of the harder things for new actors to seemingly understand is how to cut somebody off properly when it's scripted that you cut them off, like where to cut them off. Too many actors, new actors particularly, will wait until you finish the line as it's written in the script and then try and cut in at that point, which leaves the other actor with nothing to go on, nothing else to say, because they've gotten to the end of everything that was written for them. So Emmett, one of the things that's good about him, and one of the many things in his audition that I really liked, was that he just felt the conversation normal. Like, I didn't need to say for a prolonged period of time. I didn't need to finish that thought, because he took on the mind of the Barbarian, who he already understands where I'm going with it and can cut me off before I even get to it. It's one of the subtle things that can make the difference between like a good actor and a great actor, or mediocre and a good.
Strenuous activity for...
I know what rest means. I mean, do you really think that's all we need right now?
Why would it not be?
Maybe because that's not how bodies work.
What do you mean, Keothi?
I'm saying I have deep lacerations to...
That is physical paint, but it's also adapted with special effects to make it look a little more gruesome. We did like put fake blood on him, but there's only so much you can do with fake blood to make something look like an actual indentation and an actual gash in his body.
my torso, and I'm in dire need of medical professional, a lot of time to recover and heal.
Ah, but we're not continuing. Theron's setting up camp now.
Is that a dagger sticking out of him? It is a dagger
Don't
sticking
worry,
out
you'll
of
be
him.
fine.
And I love that that's never I love that that's never talked about. The fact that he's just got a dagger sticking out of his chest as well, like deep into it. It must be like between his ribs. a spear poking out of his other side, is there?
Does Theron have something in their bag that's going to magically transform into a hospital?
No.
Then what are you talking about?
It's just and his embodiment of the fact that he's playing a barbarian who must always have his emotions high, especially his like anger. He must have a short fuse because of anger fueling everything he does, and so this explosion. I tried he pitched it just perfect on the day in the audition. And then just to mess with him to see if he could take direction, I was just like, okay, try not doing the explosive element to it, and try and like have much more confused than angry. And he just like turned on a dime and just gave me exactly what I was imagining. So I was like, okay, this guy's what we got to get. we got to have him if he'll have us.
Why would we set up camp here? We could just go back to town and find a healer.
Why would we go back to town when we'll be perfectly fine in the morning? Look, we'll set up camp here and we'll be in tip-top shape in the morning.
Oh.
And Phoenix comes hobbling in on a broken ankle.
Look, we'll set up camp here and we'll be in tip-top shape in the morning.
Oh.
So the fact is that like Cleric and Aaron both think he just doesn't understand what we're saying. They're in the confusion of like, because when you're writing a confrontation like this, so that you're not just hammering at each other with no progression to the argument, you want to try and understand what it is that's crossed. Why this guy is thinking that they're arguing about this thing, and these person's thinking they're arguing about this thing, which is a psychological thing in real life as well. A lot of arguments happen because the two things you're arguing about are not actually the same thing. You're not even arguing about the same problem. It might be you're arguing about the subtext of it or whatever. Maybe you're angry because you didn't get flowers on your birthday or whatever, but you're arguing about this thing on the surface level, but it's not actually about that thing. And so the argument here comes from the fact that he's obviously seeing the logic, and they're thinking that he's thinking that Damokos and Aaron think that Keothi thinks that they're going to be moving on with continuing with the mission. So they're like, oh, I see what the problem is. You think we're continuing, but we're not continuing, we're just resting. When that's not what he's got an issue with. Damokos has got a dagger in him too. Yeah, that's right.
Oh. Okay, didn't realise that's enough to fix everything. So,
I love Byron in the background as well. Byron's got two different pairs of glasses. His like red goggles. These ones are his broken ones that have got like a shatter right through one of the eyes.
Long rest.
And that.
Just a floppy ankle. She's in so much pain. This was an interesting and tricky one to film. She's standing on a green box there, so she had to take off her boot and just walk around with one shoe on, while we put her boot on the ankle of a floppy mannequin.
These.
Long rest.
And so she's standing on a box here, and then she just has to sort of bob down out of sight, and then he has to lift her up as if he's lifting her right up off the ground. I love that he lifts her with such force that her hat comes off. He's just picking up the halfling as if she's just like a toy. Is she wearing a harness? No, he's just picking her up by the scruff of her, well, not the scruff, the back of her neck. Flopping her leg around. Look how floppy it is. And this, she's forced to look at her leg as he's bent it up behind her. Ow! Long rest.
Long rest.
He just throws her to the ground on her broken ankle. Fuck, it's funny. The boot in his left hand so totally severed. She's got completely mashed ankle, not even a broken ankle, like a mashed up severed ankle, and then the next morning she's running around playing tag with it. Rule of three again. He's got gashes, she's got a severed ankle, and then someone is practically on the verge of death, and obviously there's a build up between all three of them. In the initial edit, they just had the whole thing playing out here, but I asked them to make sure to punch in so that the Brit is a reveal moment.
Long rest.
So you're not really noticing where Brit is or what's up with her until this reveal moment where he's looking for an even. He's like, all right, what the fuck? If that's not a good enough example for you, what else can I? That one.
And that?
Kill me!
This is another great mixture of visual effects and special effects. Like, so this is real stuff on her neck, and then all of these veins have obviously been added in post. Some sort of necrotic wolf or something has torn a chunk out of her throat. She's just dying in the worst pain possible. You couldn't even tell he was flopping a foot. Oh, maybe we overdid it then. I thought that her leg was cut off the first time I saw it. Yeah, maybe we could have done it a little better, I reckon. The subtle lines of necrosis, yeah. What would be a cause of Brit's wound? I don't know. I didn't need to care. It was some sort of necrotic animal. I imagined that it was a wolf. I always imagined it was a wolf, kind of like Wither from the other campaign. Some sort of necrotic wolf or a death dog. Death dogs are a creature in the monster manual that will they'll impart a disease on you when they bite you. A disease that will slowly tick away at your maximum HP until it kills you. So I think she's maybe it's that. I don't know. I knew that there were plenty of monsters in the world that could have done it. I didn't need to pick one. Adam's soft voice's incredulity. Yeah. It's a hilarious contrast to the seriousness of his injuries. Just a long rest. We'll be fine and we'll be tip-top shape in the morning when everybody's like hacked up and bleeding to death. All this gore reminds me of my surgeries at Boston Children's Hospital. I hope you didn't have to deal with that at a children's hospital. What the hell would have made that happen? Some sort of poison in the veins?
Please, kill me!
Please kill me.
Long rest.
Okay.
It's the first one that's like... And there's a very subtle thing here, is that in D&D there are things that don't go away on a long rest. Do we have a raid? Thank you, Erin, for the raid. How was your stream? Doing some Sims? There are things that can't go away on a long rest, even in D&D 5th edition. Like, if you're cursed, that doesn't necessarily heal on a long rest. If you have... I don't know, if you have more than one level of exhaustion, it's going to take more than one long rest to go away. If you have some sort of... I don't know. There's other things that you'd have to get specialist help for as well. So I like that our subtle hesitation where we both look at each other for confirmation before saying long rest. It's me acknowledging that, like, maybe the players don't know exactly what's wrong with her, and so they're hoping that it'll go away on a long rest.
And that?
Kill me! Please, kill me!
I love that the necrosis like continues up her face as we're looking at her as well.
Long rest.
Okay. Jonathan just needs a little nappy nap, does she? Okay, fine, great.
Nappy
Well,
nap.
sweet dreams to you all. Sincerely hope they're not our last.
He does such a good job with the accent. So for those who don't know, Emmett is a Kiwi fella, and he's a professional actor, has been for many years. He's quite successful. He's been on various TV shows and films and things. But he's a Kiwi. He's not Yorkshire. So when he was deciding on his voice, he says, "What voice should I have for this role?" And I said, "Whatever you're comfortable with. It can be whatever you want it to be. It's your character." So he tried out a couple in the line reads, table reads, and landed on a Yorkshire accent, and he does a fantastic job of it.
What's his deal? Let me fine. What you know that wolves are attracted
So good,
to blood?
so good that he fooled my Yorkshire mum into thinking that he was really Yorkshire. Yeah. Love his blue eyes as well. Like those are contacts that he actually brought himself. He already had them. And that artwork on his face, like the Lieren, as I call them. Good shit. Such good makeup speckles. Like the grey skin looks very blue, so people keep referring to him as blue, which is fine. It's just the lighting makes him kind of look blue. In person, he looks much more grey than this. But all of the layer and all of the blood, like the grey skin, really makes for a great base to see all those blood splatters and blood specks and things. And then I love that he's just like goes to sleep and awakes immediately in the same position.
Come on, sleepyhead. There's a big dungeon to explore.
Big dungeon to explore. These guys playing tag. Oh, yeah, shit.
God damn it.
And then Bryce went about the Abbeville. That was funny too. Yeah, that was a good one. I'm not sure that like this was relatively easy to relatively easy to write, relatively easy to film because I knew what I wanted. I knew that it was only going to be a various, like basically just 2-on-1 arguments or even 3 or 4-on-1 arguments. Real easy to film because you just shoot one way for all of these guys who are fighting, shoot the other way for this guy who's retorting. Maybe you get some close-ups of the individuals, and that's about it. That's all you really need from it. So it's relatively straightforward. So it didn't take us that long, this one, thankfully, because it was a day of shooting four skits, and we'd already been rained out the morning of this day. Any ideas for season 2? Mate, without exaggeration, I've probably got like 70 ideas. So I've got enough for seasons 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. How would you write it, Lieren? If you go into the episode of the campaign where they're introduced to Sharon Barbarian and Roger's mistress. Check the captions there because I sent my spelling of it to Lachlan for the captions. It's definitely got a J in it. L-E-J, Lieren. I think L-I-E-J-E-I-E-N, maybe. I love that despite his wounds, he just falls asleep instantly. Yeah. I was loving D&D after a fight. They must be torn up and bloody and they always go right back to a tavern and no one says a thing. It's the other thing. In D&D, you can just say, take a long rest. You don't need to actually fall asleep. Yeah, you can just start the long rest. We're just going to have a long rest. Okay. How much adrenaline's in your system? How long is it going to take you to fall asleep? What time of day is it? What's your circadian rhythm like? It's also a clever nod to the fact that most players don't add trauma to their character's RP that would happen in real life. Yeah. When does lockdown end so you can start filming again? That is a good question, Danielle. That is the $1 million question. We're currently in level 3 lockdown, with plans to go to level 2 in a week, I think. A week and a half, something like that. So if nothing fucks up, if there's no sudden huge outbreak again, then hopefully we'll be level 2, which is the level that we can start filming again. Would be cool if you made an ep focused on a specific class or subclass. We don't want to get too specific with it, Gwynbleed, because the whole point is that we're trying to keep it, especially because it's on their main channel, we're trying to keep it accessible to people who don't play D&D. And so their jokes have to kind of work even on some level, even if you've never played D&D before. Did you get any ostrich eggs? What? Oh, you were talking to somebody else. How many episodes until we will have to wait? This is episode 4. There's 10 episodes in season 1. So there's 6 more episodes to come. Does it depend on the success of the first season if we get a second one? It kind of does, Little Master, but at this stage I would say it's pretty guaranteed because we've got over 3 million views on the 6 episodes six videos that have been released, including the trailer and the teaser. We've got over 3 million views, so it's got much more views than all of their other content that they've released on the channel in the same amount of time. So season 2 hasn't been greenlit yet, but I would be very surprised if they don't give me a season 2. If they don't give me a season 2, we riot. I'll just turn the regular campaign into season 2. I'll just include all of my ideas into season 2. Make them act it out at the table. where I have ultimate power. Ultimate power! Wizards of the Coast is very protective about their copyrights like Disney, but without the legio lawyers. They're not actually that protective over their copyrights. Bravo Cav, in that you're allowed to use D&D things for this particular, like this sort of stuff. I didn't have to ask Wizards of the Coast for rights to this, and it says on their channel, it says on their Wizards of the Coast website, like, what their fair use policy is, and the fact that anybody's allowed to stream D&D being played and talk about it and make skits about it and things without having to ask for permission, which is pretty good of them. Had you set a target for views? Not a specific target, but instead just like more of a feeling, more of a related to everything else kind of views. Who directs the skits? I do. I'm the creative director, and I have a technical director called Sean, who makes sure that things are moving along and makes sure that we're getting the shots that we need and stuff. Are we starting on script into lockdown then? No, if we start filming again in season 2, it's not going to be for this. It's going to be for the campaign. Season 2 of this won't start filming until much later, I think. Didn't you say Wizards of the Coast commissioned you to write for them officially? No, no, I did not. Apotheosis Studios has commissioned me to write for them specifically, but they're not affiliated with Wizards of the Coast. Rob gets what Rob's wants. Even Rob wants season 2. It's gonna happen! I know, right? You know, if you tried that, Rowan would just jump off a very high place. And then I would save him. Deus Ex Machina. You can't die unless I say you can die. With Rob's humour by season 3, some of his season 1 Easter eggs may be ostrich eggs. It's amazing advertising for them. I can't imagine why they want to shut this sort of thing down. Yeah, which is why they don't. Which is why Wizards are like, yeah, use it. Fair use of everything. Anybody talking about D&D is good for us. Ben said something about being tired of Souls logic, did he? Need a waterproof cover for your chair. Maybe not a question for here, but how would it work if I wanted to translate them for French for YouTube? I'm sad not to understand them. I'm not sure, Monies. You'd have to contact. You'd probably just email info@viva.com or something. If you message them about like translating them for YouTube, then you can probably get an answer from them that way. So I don't know. Does anybody know if there's been a has there been like a behind the scenes or a bloopers put on their Patreon about this particular episode? From memory, we didn't have much in the way of behind the scenes or bloopers because it was a relatively straightforward scene. Emmett's a super duper professional actor that remembers all of his lines immediately and delivers them perfectly. As am I and Adam, of course. So I don't think this one really had any bloopers or behind the scenes. We just kind of like nailed it, knocked it out of the park. I'd love a D&D film like Balin's Route. It would crack the 3 million views. Yeah, man, it would be great, I'm sure. If season 2 doesn't happen with Viva, we will do it. yeah, I'll crowdsource it. If they don't do season 2, I've certainly got ideas for season 2. I could do it myself. Just with a significantly less budget.
It's a raid!
Dead Aussie Gamer! Birthday Aussie Gamer. Raiding with a party of 26. Thank you for the raid, Dead Aussie. How's it going? How's your birthday going? Everybody wish Dead Aussie a happy birthday. Give him some hype. If you haven't followed, go over to Dead Aussie Gamer and drop him a follow. He's a fantastic dungeon master. Really good storyteller. Very funny and very witty and very smart at linking things back to the stuff that he said at the beginning that was complete improvisation, tying it all back in again. So make sure to go check him out.
Oh, a new adventurer joins the team.
Now I've got to go to do more work.
A big meanie,
Don't have to do any more work. Dead Aussie Gamer. A big meanie? I'm not a meanie, Calindria. Did my Jinx token come into play? Did you die? There's no bloopers on Patreon. No, I didn't think there would be for this episode because we're all totes profesh. I shall fight with love instead of swords for Dag's birthday. Nice. In honour of his birthday. You've just missed the breakdown of the episode, Dag. Let's watch it through again for anyone who was just raiding from Dag's stream. This is the latest episode of D&D Logic.
Cure wounds. The way I Wagram.
Wagru.
Sorry, Aaron, I'm out.
Damn it. All right, Theron, start setting up. We're going to need to camp.
Wait. We're not going back.
What? No, we're only halfway through the mission.
Idiot.
But we're all almost dead.
Yeah, we're not continuing. We're going to rest now.
What do you mean rest?
I mean, like, not do strenuous activity for...
I know what rest means. I mean, do you really think that's all we need right now?
Why would it not be?
Maybe because that's not how bodies work.
What do you mean, Kirthy?
I'm saying I have deep lacerations to my torso, and I'm in dire need of medical professional and a lot of time to recover and heal.
But we're not continuing. Theron's setting up camp now. Don't worry, you'll be fine.
Oh, I'm sorry. Does Theron have something in their bag that's going to magically transform us to a hospital?
Never.
What are you talking
Never.
about? Why would we set up camp here? We could just go back to town and find a healer.
Why would we go back to town when we'll be perfectly fine in the morning? Look, we'll set up camp here and we'll be in tip-top shape in the morning.
Oh, okay. Didn't realise that's enough to fix everything. So, these.
Long rest.
And that's...
Long rest.
How angry was the Megabad as to splutter, but well, thankfully, Dag,
And that's...
we worked it out so that this was the last thing that we were filming today. Well, second to last. There was another skit. There's another skit to come later. That is also us all in fucked up, bloody faces and things. So we were like, once we've started bloodying people, that's all we're not cleaning them up again. So are we 100% sure that we've got everything we need of them clean? Yes, we are. Okay, let's move on. And then they were happy to do it.
Please, kill me.
Long rest.
Okay. Jonathan just needs a little nappy nap, does she?
Does she?
Okay, fine. Great. Well, sweet dreams to you all. Sincerely hope they're not our last.
I like that the dagger
Fine,
becomes
great.
really obvious when he
Well,
turns
sweet
it.
dreams to you all.
It's just a dagger sticking out of his chest. I love that it's almost like a cheese knife as well. It's like a serving knife rather than like a mean proper rogue's dagger or something.
Sincerely hope they're not our last.
Just like dug sideways into his ribs.
What's the deal? Let me fine. What you know?
Look at these fucking costumes, man. Check them out. Aren't they just amazing?
Everything's fine.
These costumes are dope.
Come on, sleepyhead. There's a big dungeon to explore.
Big dungeon to explore.
God damn it. You think we should have gone back to town?
So good.
Hit subscribe. If you think we should stay here and rest, hit like.
I'll do both. The blue cyan contacts look incredible. Such a piercing look. Yeah, man. Yeah. I'm glad that he had them. He's like, "Can I have blue eyes?" I was like, "Yes." What do you mean, like contacts? And he goes, "Yeah." I was like,
A new
"We can
adventure
get you
joins
contacts."
the
He goes, "No, I've got some." I was like,
Happy
all
4
right.
months, Rob, and love the new episode of both D&D Logic and Epic NPC D&D. I dunno if you're into Mass Effect, but have you looked into Mass Effect 5e? It looks so good.
Thank you, Archinox, for subscribing with Prime for 4 months. I've never played Mass Effect, no, so I've never looked into Mass Effect 5 either. So that part would have been shot first since they're all healed. Yes, so we shot everything at the end from when he wakes up onwards. We shot all of that. Then we packed away the tents. We got everybody bloodied, and then we shot the rest. Hey, thank you very much,
Awesome
Zess,
work,
for
man.
$13.
Laughing face,
Pushing us up
enjoyed
to a
that
nice
episode.
$11 squared towards my new phone. Alan is unrecognisable in that skit. I know, right? Did he shave for the skits, or was he already set? Do you mean his face or his head? Because he shaved his face. I asked for him to not have a beard. Goliaths don't have beards. Grog does in Critical Role because he's wearing a belt of dwarven kind, which a product of wearing that belt means that you grow facial hair even if you don't normally. So Goliaths don't normally grow beards, so I had him clean shaven, but that is a bald cap. And bald caps, not easy. They are not as simple as slapping on a swimming cap to your head and making the best of it. Like, it takes hours in the makeup chair to apply it properly, and then even then it takes hours more of like digitally removing creases and shit in his bald cap. So they're not simple. They're not simple to do. If he wasn't needing his hair for other shit, I'd be if this was a larger project like a bloody Marvel movie or something, then I'd just be like, yeah, I need you to shave your head because we can't be putting you through all of the hours of putting the makeup on and the lieren and stuff, as well as all of the hours of putting a bald cap on as well. Where can I watch the rest of D&D Logic, says Emily. You can head over to Viva La Dirt League right here. You can go to Viva La Dirt League. This is the Viva La Dirt League D&D channel, and that one over there is the Viva La Dirt League channel. This one here, Viva La Dirt League. And if you click on this, pew, it takes you over to Viva La Dirt League, and then if you go to playlists, you can go into D&D Logic, play all, and for some reason, the teaser is the 4th one on the list, and the trailer is the 3rd one on the list, and then episode 1 is the 1st one on the list, followed by episode 2, and then episode 3 is the 5th one on the list. I don't know why they've put this in this order. I don't know what's going on. But it should go teaser, trailer, backstories, turn-based, rules lawyer, long rest. And those are the 4 episodes that are out at the moment. These 4, 1, 2, 5, 6. And then next Friday will be episode 5, and so on every Friday from that point on. Which one was Adam playing? Are you joking? You don't recognise Adam?
Demikos, when you woke up this morning sitting on top of your
This is Adam. Oh, you would think of Alan. Listen carefully.
belongings was a letter. You look around to see an out-of-place group of what could only be your fellow wannabe adventurers sitting at a table. The rest of you are enjoying your drinks when a tiefling approaches the table.
That's Alan. The voiceover is Alan. So he's not in long rest because he's not doing any voiceovers for it. Alan asked for a lesser role, so did Rowan. Rowan and Alan asked for lesser roles in D&D Logic because the whole point of the direction of where the channel is going is that they're going to start growing, and they can only grow any further than what they're already at if they branch out into other content creators making stuff for them, because there's only 3 of them and there's only a certain number of hours in the day. And so they've hired Ben to do Souls Logic, they've hired me to do D&D Logic, they're hiring Britt and Ellie, I think, are making Minecraft Logic, is it? No, not Minecraft Logic, they're doing something, Sims Logic, I think, Britt and Ellie are doing. They've hired an outside group of some, I can't remember what they're called, to do Horror Logic coming at some point. So they're branching out, and so they specifically asked, like, Adam was my point of contact for this scene, so he was it for this series, so he's pretty tied to it, but Alan and Rowan said we'll take slightly lesser roles. Rowan's role ended up growing a little bit more than I think he would have wanted it to be. He's in a couple of them. He's in a few of the episodes, and he's obviously the main one in episode 3. With his rules lawyering.
Of one.
But Alan managed to avoid most of it by being the DM. So all of his stuff can be done as voiceovers after the fact, with the exception of 1 or 2 episodes. Is that official already? Heard of the Sims Logic for the first time? Yeah, Sims Logic I heard for the first time when they announced it in some sort of an interview. I was in an interview for this with Adam, being interviewed about D&D Logic, and then he happened to mention offhand that Ellie and Britt are going to be writing Sims Logic. So I was like, oh, okay, I guess that's a thing. Oh, Witcher Logic's coming as well. Witcher Logic. FPS Season 2 has been confirmed, has it? I'm kind of sad that there isn't more DM talk in those episodes, because I see it wouldn't make sense. No, Alan wasn't in the mask. There's no point bringing in Alan for a day of shooting just to have him sit in a mask. How many episodes? There's 10 episodes in this season of D&D Logic. So we've got 6 more to go.
I see you.
Sable, thank you for the follow. It has been announced officially, but it won't be this year though. No. Are they going to annoy the DM at some point? Oh, a lot. Indubitably.